The views expressed are not necessarily those of KSCJ and Powell Broadcasting Company. This program is not intended to replace the advice of doctors or other clinical providers. Consult with your practitioner to ensure the proper course of action for you.
Welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. This program is dedicated to your mental health wellness and brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency. Here's your host, Art Silva.
Hey, welcome and good morning. Hope you had an enjoyable Christmas, and that Santa brought you everything that you wanted on your list. So again, Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning on When Things Aren't Going Well. Joining me today, I have on the show our friends from Family Services, two licensed therapists. We have with us Stacy Norton. Good morning, Stacy.
Good morning.
And also we have Sandy Jacobsma. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
And our show is all about mental wellness. Can we educate you? A self-help program, what you can do to help your mental wellness. But I think the first thing is to be also educate and aware of the facts, what's the situation. Our family services operation, we have two of our licensed therapists here today, and we can talk about a ton of topics. So we're going to start the show right now and talk with Stacy about, Stacy works in the area of with children, and Stacy's going to talk about play therapy. Stacy, what is play therapy, and what do you hope to accomplish with it?
Well, play therapy is an evidence-based mode of therapy that works with children. The philosophy is that play is a child's language and toys are their words. So we're able to use a variety of techniques to help children move forward in whatever issue they come in with. Some of the things that we see kids for are loss, and that can be through death, divorce. Some kids have to be removed from their homes, go into foster care, so that's a loss. We deal with behavior problems. Sometimes the schools are having problems with kids in school. Sometimes it's at home. Anger management things, mental health diagnosis with kids like anxiety, depression, ADHD, autism. So we really see kids for different reasons, and we're able to help them.
You touched on depression. What are some of the outward signs that a child might display experience depression?
I think with kids, they express depression in different ways. Some become withdrawn and maybe isolate. Sometimes you'll see anger issues with kids with depression, more behavior problems at school. They might have more social problems with the kids at school, get into trouble.
Do you is some of the warning signs a parent can look for that would highlight we need to do something in this area?
I would say any change in behavior. I think parents know their kids better than anyone, and if you see that your child has changed and it's concerning to you, then that's probably a good time to get into therapy.
Would you say that the problem is heightened at the holiday season?
For some, yes, especially with loss. If you have children that have experienced a death, the holidays are a big change. You might not have grandma there. You might not have your sibling there. So, yes,
This has been a very unusual year for all of us. Sandy, let me ask you, and that following up on what Stacy just said, the grief, the loss. Has this year been different in that regard? Are you experiencing more clients, more interest, more questions, looking for answers in that area?
It has been significant to mental health for especially people who are elderly or isolated. It's scary. Can we go out? We're older. What are our risk factors? For some people that live in assisted living, the facilities are closed. They're having telehealth with me, and they can wave to their family through a window, but they don't get to go out. And I talked to one person this week, how do we do Christmas safely? We had some ideas that they're going to run by their kids to see if we could do it this way. But it's so much change. And so when you already have anxiety, to add COVID on top of it, we're all in the pandemic together, but it intensifies it so much.
Well, obviously, I can only speak for myself. You think sometimes you're just bulletproof, but man, do you miss the social contact? I think that's just part of our total DNA. When you get done at the end of the day, you don't have much to say to somebody else because you haven't talked to anybody else. So that isolation piece can only be compounded with the elderly as the world seems to be shrinking around them. And so anything we could do in that area, looking at with our friends, elderly or whatever, isolationism is really a topic. I read this about maybe about 6 months ago in a newspaper article, and they said the most endangered species was the middle-aged man. The middle-aged male in isolationism was a growing problem. So anything on that can you help us with?
I think what you said overall is the isolation. We have to be deliberate. We have to reach out. We have to call family. I know for me, I'm not seeing my friends, and I miss them. And so you do have to reach out. And it's awkward because, like you said, oh, what's going on in your life? And there isn't a whole lot going on in many of our lives. But it's still just having that connection that you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone as we all go through this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you see people differently. I think that the medical offices have done fantastic being able to bring people in and see them safely. Families have to do the same. You might not have your big gathering of 40 this year, so you might have to not see some family this year and maybe, have your Christmas with 4 right in your immediate family, but be able to maybe Zoom or talk to them.
Right.
So figure out a different way and know that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, that's the hope. And I think as we kick off and get into next year, we're going to have some programs that deal with getting back on the good foot.
Yes.
Have we
Yes.
forgotten how to have a good time? I think one of the best remedies, and I'll ask this, and maybe we'll give it to our audience for homework this week. When was the last time you had a good laugh? And think about it. When you just sit back with your friends and just howled over something, laughter as therapy, humor. I think we have, God gave us this sense of humor for a reason. So you want to discuss, anybody want to talk on humor and things we can do to help us get out of that and homework?
Humor is very important, to talk to people that cheer you up, that give you positive feelings, to watch shows that make you laugh. Sometimes I think, too, to enjoy what is around you. I think that we get so busy at certain times that sometimes we just don't sit and look at the birds and look at what's around us and enjoy the peace sometimes that we have.
You're listening to When Things Aren't Going Well. This is the Family Services Program, and I'm here today with my friends Stacy Norton and Sandy Jacobsma, and we're talking about mental wellness, your mental wellness. Ladies, let me ask you this. We're coming into the new year, and the new year is is that a stop and a finish for a lot of people? I want to start new things. Do you see that in the areas in mental wellness, people coming in, I want to get some help?
I think people set goals, and I guess I'm the person who doesn't, because it's really hard to fulfill that goal if I set impossible ones. But I think this year especially, we can set some realistic goals. Are you going to get vaccinated? I'm sure going to be lining up for that vaccination.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Me
But I
too.
mean, just being able to think, okay, there's an end to this in sight.
Yes.
What am I going to do first? What have I missed the most? And kind of prioritizing. And mine's all relationships.
I had to think about that. And dealing with mental wellness and my mental wellness, I can't wait for a draft beer. I am not kidding. Not out of a can, not out of a bottle. I hope I didn't break any laws in saying that. But yeah, where you got to go for a good restaurant? Get back out. Maybe having a meal out. Yeah, how do we get back on that trail
I
again?
look forward to that. And we talked about the elderly. This is hard on kids because
very.
kids need to get out and play. But I really think young people in their early 20s, the people that, like you said, want to go out and have a draft beer and mingle with the college age kids, this has been very, very difficult
Yes, absolutely.
on
It's a whole
them.
change. Absolutely. So I got to tell you, it's New Year's Eve is going to be different.
Yes.
Even in
Yes.
Times Square. I guess that everything is just different. But, one thing I've noticed, especially with our residential children, is their resiliency.
Mhm.
The kids, they seem to kind of hang in there. They go with the punches. And of course, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to go home this Christmas because of the COVID. We're going to do our best to make sure they have the best Christmas we can. But it's just looking at things through somebody else's eyes. And I try to look at people and say, maybe they're having a real tough day today. And I have those days. So
Hmm.
with the holidays coming up, I know it creates a lot of anxiety and stuff. Um, it hopefully we get through it peacefully and people enjoy the holiday. Speaking of joy, we're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back with things ongoing well. We're glad to have you with us, and we'll be back after this short break.
Let's face it, it happens to all of us. However, the pandemic has compounded all of our lives and activities. Even the simplest tasks seem harder. Hi, I'm Brenda Geisinger, the Chief Operating Officer at the Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. Family Services is a United Way partner agency serving children and families of our community, and we're here to help. If you'd like to learn more about Family Services, please contact us via email, website, Facebook, or phone Mary Pickens. At Family Services, we change lives.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well on KSCJ. Here's Art Silva.
Welcome back, everybody, to When Things Aren't Going Well. I'm with my friends from Family Services, Stacy Norton and Sandy Jacobson. And we're glad that you're here to share a second cup of coffee with us as we continue our discussion of mental wellness in the community. Stacy, let's go back to we were talking to working on children and the holiday and what they go through. I know that you and Sandy have worked together on a project with children. You want to talk about that?
We have children that come in for a variety of issues. Some are easy to look at and help them improve things pretty rapidly. We have some kids, unfortunately, who have suffered childhood abuse and neglect, and I think sometimes we're a stepping stone for kids as they're healing. So Sandy and I had a few years ago, we had a sibling group, and the two kids were neglected, early childhood trauma. They had attachment issues. They had to be removed from their parents. So we did directive and non-directive play therapy. In our offices, we had books, and we had them do specific things to deal with their trauma. And one of the things that they struggled with, and it was around the holidays too, was that they were not going to be able to be with their bio family. That rights were going to be terminated. So we worked with them on not only abuse, but loss issues. Even though children are abused, they want to be with their biological family a lot of times, but it's not safe. So we worked with them to deal with that. But then in the playroom, these kids, due to their early childhood neglect, were very delayed in their play skills. So when we first went in the playroom, they did like solitary play, like a young child would, where they just kind of went around the playroom. They took something out, took the toys out, looked at it, didn't engage us. They had problems with social skills. Both the kids, they fought, they didn't get along. So Sandy and I, through our non-directive play therapy, we were able to slowly help them learn how to do pretend play. And through the pretend play, we were able to teach them skills by being able to learn how to talk about their feelings, help them get along. When they first came in, the one child would go in one corner and play with their thing, and the other would go. So Sandy and I were able to bring them together with a common theme. And it revolved around pretend play, like they were like a prince and a princess, and we were like the mother and the grandma, and the boy would go out and go hunting. And through this, he was able to play out some of the things in his life that basically there's danger in life and I have to protect myself. But Sandy and I, through our skills, were able to help him know that, yes, you are able to figure things out, and but also there's people here for you. And so we were able to really, through, I think we probably had them close to a year, but the progress that they made, their behavior, they were able to get along better at home, their behavior problems decreased, their social skills improved, their relationship strengthened, and their self-esteem. That was so rewarding to see how they felt about themselves, and they were able to tell us and their caretakers what they needed and how they felt. So when they came in, they couldn't do that.
Amazing. You know, I learned so much listening to you folks and what you deal with. And every life's a life. Every life is something, and especially, and you start with children, and you can start this, and the end effect will be what we use so many times in political years. We want to strengthen the family. Well, we have family services, just strengthening families every day, and that is the absolute core of our society, that family unit. And when I hear stories like this, it kind of I get fired up. I feel good because I see the faces, and I don't have your backgrounds. And so I learn as I go along too, and I just know you're doing a bunch of wonderful things with our children out there. Sandy, anything that you'd like to maybe share with us in that area?
I think that we have seen so many children make such positive changes. And I think as we go forward, giving that hope to kids that life is going to get back to normal, that they are going to be able to go out and play with their friends, that, it's not always going to be like that. And to start thinking, what do you want to do when we get to do these things? What do you think? One girl asked me, is this going to be a trailer of 2020? I said, no, this is not going to be a trailer of 2020. We are going forward. Kids are starting to talk about vacations and where the family's going to go. And I see that as all so hopeful.
I agree.
I think when we were on break, we got talking here, and our wonderful producer, JB, and he talked about you need a baseball game and a hot dog to go along with that beer. And I said, isn't that the truth? There's nothing exotic. It's just the basic things. You're around, you see people, and also how many things we've taken for granted, just that we just took for granted for so long. So I hope when we come out of this mess, we really appreciate that and get back on, holding hands and looking both ways before we cross the street.
Absolutely,
I
yes.
think we'll all get down the road together. Sandy, before we get done, I just want to revisit the elderly. We're looking at some programs in family services. We have a new program that'll be coming out with yoga and meditation. We were able to get some funding on a grant for this, and we think it's going to be helpful and innovative with mental wellness. But we want to target yoga for the elderly. We want to also target yoga for adolescents. So what are your thoughts of yoga for the elderly? You think that type of physical activity would have and mental activity to have a positive approach?
I think it could have a really positive approach. And I think one of the best parts of it would be for people who don't have a lot of connections to each other, that they would be coming and they could see the same people participating in class together, and they could make friendships. Because it is hard as you get older, if you've lost friends or so many things have changed in your church, that I think it's great when we can figure out how to connect people to each other.
Great. Well, you two have been wonderful. I've opened my eyes and hopefully opened the eyes of folks in the community This show, when things aren't going well, is to kind of like deal with the reality of today, but know that there are answers. There's a lot of things you can do on your own to help yourself, and that's our whole goal here. However, if you feel that you need more help and you'd like to talk to somebody, you can certainly give us a call at Family Services at 293-4900, and we'll be glad to set up a time to sit and talk with you. I'm most proud of the fact that Family Services is a United Way partner agency. And right now, I got to tell you, United Way is wrapping up a very difficult year, but we're able to provide services on a sliding scale because of United Way. So please, I guess what I'm saying is there's no need to sit there without that sun shining on you, trying to find a way to make it happen, especially as we look forward to coming into 2021. Um, with that, I want to talk about 2021 briefly. As you know, we're working on the Jenny Peterson Behavioral Health Campus. That is the old Indian Hills campus, and it's been named after beloved benefactor, Jenny Peterson. The first phase of this store, of our shop, is going to open up, and that's the Family Services operation, and that's going to be on the second floor of the two-story building that used to occupy the Veteran Services. Memory Lane is on the first floor, and so we'd like to have, we're looking at sometime in January Q1, we're laying carpet as we speak, but it's a new facility. Will be easier access for folks. We're going to have new programs in there. And it's the first step of our three-prong approach. Our second phase would be completing the school, and that's in the old old Super Value building. And the final step will be the residential treatment. So the project's moving right along. We're going to take care of our outpatient needs first, and that's going to be the Family Services. And with that, some new programs, new offerings, and hopefully to keep a communication going on your mental wellness and what we can do in this community. So with that, Stacy, Sandy, let me be the first to wish you a happy new year. When we get back, we're back on next Sunday, and it'll be 2021, and we'll be on our way. And I kind of I don't make New Year's resolutions. I make Easter resolutions. Because to me, that's when everything starts new. Plus, it gives me 3 months to get a head start on all the things I didn't get done in January. So I want to thank you both for joining us today and sharing your knowledge with us, and wishing you both a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year to you, too.
Okay, thank you. And I want to thank you out there for joining us this morning on When Things Aren't Going Well. This is Art Silva. I want to wish you a Happy New Year, and we'll see you again, I guess, next year, right here on 1360 KSCJ.